should just say you're Lebanese, you're not Filipino. But I'm like, but I'm proud to be half Filipino. So of course I'm gonna say I'm half Filipino.
Mabuhay!
Hi, ako si Grace Hope. I'm 20 years old. Nag-aral ako ng pharmacy sa University of Sharjah dito sa United Arab Emirates. Nanay ko ay Filipino and tatay ko ay Lebanese.
Marhaba! Ako si Suzanne. Ako ay 21 years old. Nakatira ako dito sa UAE din, sa Abu Dhabi. Tapos nag-aaral ako ng interior design. Ang nanay ko ay Filipina and my dad's Palestinian.
How often do you visit the country your father and mother's from? What's life like in both of those countries compared to life in the UAE?
So I haven't been to the Philippines for 9 years now, and I've never been to Palestine. And the reason why we haven't been to the Philippines is because, you know, it's like I'm still in university, so it's hard to get there. But anyways, yeah, the Philippines, from what I remember, is my mom lives in the city of Davao, which is like another city in the Philippines, and it's not in the capital. It's nice, it's great. I like the vibe of the Philippines. It's more simpler than it is in the UAE or Abu Dhabi, but I also like it here. For Palestine though, I can't really say I know anything because I've never been, and the state of the country itself now is war. So yeah, it sucks, but it's happening. And yeah, I don't know much about that side of my roots, Palestinian side, but I hope to learn more. I'm learning more about it now, actually.
So the last time I've been to the Philippines was about 4 years ago. We don't go that often because, I mean, like she mentioned, university and ticket is very expensive. Compared to the UAE, I would say it's very different because my mom's from Ilocos. We live in the province. But I like how it's very close-knitted. Like, it's a very small town, so everybody knows everybody. So I like that part of it. And with Lebanon, it's very similar to life here. Like, we have similar stores. So it doesn't feel much different compared to, like, living in the UAE.
As a Filipino-Arab, what does it mean for you to be an Arab? And what does it mean for you to be a Filipino?
That's deep.
Yeah, it's a question I feel like we always ask ourselves too sometimes. Because it's like, okay, we're Filipino, but we're also this other half.
Yeah.
I mean, we both grew up in a Filipino school. I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, it's like I was more tapped into my Filipino roots than my Arab roots. And that changed when I moved from a Filipino school to a more Arab student school base. It was like I tried so hard to just be pure Filipino. Back in like the Filipino school. And that sort of changed when I met more people who were also half, where it was like, oh yeah, there are things that they can relate to me that pure Filipinos can't. But this is not saying like, oh, pure Filipinos, we can't get along, because that's not true. Like most of our friends are pure Filipinos, and it's a great thing. But it's also sort of like there are some times where you feel like they won't understand some certain things that someone who is also half may understand.
Yeah, because we grew up from KG1 till grade 10 in a Filipino school, so we were always surrounded by Filipinos, so I guess we were more tied into that side. And then same case with you, we transferred to an international school after grade 10 for 2 years because of the Filipino system, like the school system. And then people were very surprised when I would be like, oh yeah, half Filipino, half Lebanese.
Like, what?
Like, it was very new to them.
It's like, how?
Right?
How is it possible?
Yeah.
It's like, how did they meet? Where did they meet?
Yeah.
Why? I remember when I moved, it was like, so you speak Arabic, right? I kind of do. I never felt that way before though, because in the Filipino school, it's like, oh, you speak Filipino, Tagalog. It's like, yeah, I can.
It was very surprising.
Yeah, and then I remember this one time, one of my teachers in the new school that I moved to was like, oh, you're Arab and you don't speak Arabic? And that hit me so hard. I felt so guilty. And that's when I realized I feel so bad for my dad for like all the years of like just me not being tapped into part of my culture and part of who I am, really. Things happen for a reason, right? So I think the move was something that had to happen in our lives to learn more about ourselves, because we were tapped into one part of ourselves and not the other.
From the move, you could see the difference between the Filipino attitude to like the more international side. It was very different.
Because in the Filipino school, there's this thing where it's like, so I was known for just doing art, and so I just stayed in that little bubble sort of, and the people who are known for like dancing, singing, being smart, class president and stuff like that, they just do their own thing, and everyone was like in their own little bubble. So when I moved, I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to sort of just go and be myself and be like, hi, introduce myself to new people. And then I remember coming into the class, it was chaos. People were sitting in desks, and then all of a sudden a teacher came in, and it was like the teacher wasn't there. I usually in Filipino schools, you'd stand up and greet the teacher. but they were just like still in chaos. And then the teacher had to acknowledge his presence for them to notice him. And then the students just sat back in their seats and nothing. And I don't know, every time there would be conversations with the teacher, they would talk back directly.
Yeah, I noticed.
I feel like with most Asian countries, there is that sort of like hierarchy of respect. It's like, if you're older, you have to have that respect. When I moved, there wasn't anything like that. Like, people who were in a higher year were just like normal people. Like, oh, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah,
and
that was like ate kuya.
Yeah, it was like a really different shift.
There's no hierarchy to like positions, I guess.
Yeah.
With them. I don't know if it happened to you, but you could see how they judge Filipinos in a way. Like, there was this one girl in my school. She asked me like, oh, which school did you come from? I'm like, oh, Filipino school. And she went, oh, such an upgrade from a Filipino school to an international school. And just like, I mean, it's not really that much of a difference, I guess.
One thing I also noticed regarding education, when we were in like our Filipino schools, there was a lot of events all the time, and we sort of tapped into that, like, more the creative side. I mean, we would study, but it was like tapped into the creative side. And when I moved, it was like a huge shift from creativity, events, and just teamwork and everything like that to study.
Very focused on academics. I feel like I felt more comfortable in the international school though, like physically, because in the Filipino school, everyone is Filipino. I looked different, the hair, everything. I looked very different. So people would point it out, like, oh, they knew me. They knew who I was. And then in the international school, I fit in. Everybody looked like me. So I was more comfortable there, I would say, than in the Filipino school.
Right. Because in the Filipino school, I mean, obviously, if you don't know something, you ask questions, right? So it's like, oh, so in your household, does this or this happen? And it's like, these questions were not like, they were never asked in the school that I moved to, because it was like, it was like a normal thing. It's not bad. It's just that's how it was.
But once they get to know you're half Filipino, then they start asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so surprising to them.
Yeah.
We're like this new species.
That's an interesting point. Because in the Philippines, we're so used to having half people. Like, they represent us. Our celebrities are half Filipino. So what's your take on that? Like, being half Filipino in the Arab world versus being half Filipino in the Filipino world?
Oh, I like that question.
Because it wasn't here, but then
I like that question because thinking about it like straight up from my mind, just after you ask the question, it's definitely Philippines. Mataas yung tingin nila sa'yo. It's like, wow, you're Filipino and you're half. Oh my God, it's like, wow, exotic, whatever. You're mixed. Maganda yung mga
mag-artista ka.
Yeah, it's like, mag-artista ka.
Mag-audition ka sa PBB.
And it's like, oh, artista mo siya. Bakit isa ng anak mo? Sundan mo siya. It becomes this big deal, and it's kind of scary sometimes. It's like, wait, what? What's going on? It becomes this huge thing. And then in like the Arab side, it's kind of like, they're just curious about it.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone asks the same thing, but it's also like they're curious of really how did it happen? Like, how did your parents meet?
Yeah.
Is what I always get. It's like, how did your parents meet? There are also like, oh wows too. It's like, oh wow, that's so cool. But most of it is like, how? It's like a big how.
In the Filipino side, I think they're more accepting. Because there's a lot of us. There's so many of us.
Yeah.
And then in the Arab side, like I said, it's more surprising to them.
Yeah.
Especially this like whole interracial, it's not the common thing.
I mean, now it's more accepted, I feel, but like it's not something they're used to at all.
Because whenever somebody asks me where I'm from, I'd be like, oh, I'm half Filipino, half Lebanese. People have told me that I shouldn't be like, oh, I'm half Filipino. I just should say I'm Lebanese. Because my dad's Lebanese.
Here?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, people have told, because I should identify with my dad, not with my mom.
Okay.
It's the Arab thing, like, especially, you know how in our names we have to include our dad's name.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
And that's like a big difference that I found, because in the Arab world, you have your name, your father's name, and then your family name.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Philippines, you put your name, your mom's maiden name, and then your family name. So that's like a big difference as well. They're like, oh no, you should just say you're Lebanese, you're not Filipino. But I'm like, but I'm proud to be half Filipino. So of course I'm gonna say I'm half Filipino.
Being half Arab and Filipino, how are you received by the people from both of the countries you're from?
I would say I don't fit in really anywhere because I didn't grow up in the Philippines. So when I'm there, I'm a foreigner. And I didn't grow up in Lebanon. So when I'm there, I'm also a foreigner, but then I'm also a foreigner here. Like, I don't really fit in anywhere.
That's the thing too. Like, not even just half, even if you just grew up here, even if you're just Filipino and you grew up somewhere, you know you're not permanently gonna live in. You could look at it that way. It's like, I don't belong, but it's also like, I do belong to all of these places. In some sense, it's kind of sad, but also kind of true and nice. Because I feel like, again, we wouldn't be who we are today if we didn't grow up or have the circumstances that we had here, right? I don't know what type of people we'd be if we grew up in the Philippines or grew up in Palestine, if we'd be more rooted in those places than when we grew up here.
And here, you're surrounded by both cultures.
Yeah.
Because we're surrounded by a lot of Filipinos. I mean, majority of the population in the country are Filipinos. But at the same time, it's an Arab country, so there's that aspect to it, the cultural aspect to it of like the Arab side and then the Filipino side. So yeah, it's a good middle ground.
Did you ever face any struggles or misunderstandings by the people around you growing up as a halfie?
A lot of people confuse that I'm not Muslim because I'm half Arab. Like when you say Arab, you assume directly Muslim. But in my case, my dad's Christian. People get surprised a lot. Even like people who've known me my entire life, and then I mentioned like, oh, for example, now it's Ramadan. They ask, oh, aren't you fasting? They're like, no, I'm not Muslim. They get really surprised. So that's like another, I guess, misconception about the Arab world is that everybody's Muslim. But there's a good chunk of us. Lebanon, I believe, like about half or less than half are not Muslim. So that's like a good, and you're a Muslim, so that you can see like the contrast.
But the same thing though in Palestine. It's not like they're all just Muslims. There are also Christians there too. But it's actually funny when I first met Grace, because she moved from her Filipino school to my Filipino school. Watch, you were Muslim. So I played in that part of like all Arabs are Muslim when I was younger, which is like, it's not true, you know, there are...
Actually, like, I was in my Filipino school, the ones who are half Arab, I'm the only one that's not Muslim. And then in your Filipino school, I believe I was the only one that wasn't Muslim. Yeah. So basically, I was the only one I knew who wasn't Muslim until I transferred to the international school. And then there was like a bunch of us that wasn't Muslim. And another thing is, people are scared to wear that.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing. They're like, when you think Arab, you think, oh my god, so scary. So angry. But
that happened. I remember one time my friends came over. They're like, I'm so scared of your dad. I'm so scared of your dad. And they see my dad. It's like, oh hi, it's nice to meet you.
I'm like, I swear, they're like the nicest people.
Well, now that you're talking about this, there actually is this scare factor about Arabs when it comes to Filipinos. Like, why do you think so? Like, when you say I'm Arab, they have certain things that come into mind.
Media. The way they're portrayed in the media, I guess. There's sudden like prejudice, I would say, that they're scary people, you know, they do this, they do that.
I am not the best Muslim to like answer these questions because again, I don't know much about my religion itself. Like I'm not the perfect person to ask. But I know that like Islam is like a religion of peace, and whatever people do that they claim is Islam when it's it's not Islam, it's terrorism. So you can't really define them as Muslim or Christian or whatever. They're terrorists. That's it, period, point blank. We, as human beings, tend to want to learn more. So if we educate ourselves more about different religions and what they're all about, no religion really is about violence. It's all about peace. If Muslims are terrorists, then the whole world would probably crumble because, I mean, there's so many Muslims.
And also, I feel like when people say Muslim, you think it's just the Arab people. There's a bunch of Muslims elsewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are Filipino Muslims.
Exactly, yeah. And like people from other countries, you know, European countries who convert to Islam. It's just media, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you lean onto a specific culture more than the other?
We get that a lot. Which side do you identify more as?
I mean, it's not necessarily like, yes, I lean to this, yes, I lean to that. I mean, because obviously, since you both experience different things, maybe you actually lean on to both.
I think I lean more into Filipino roots more, but I mean, I feel like it's slowly changing because the older I grow, the more I sort of learn about my dad's side and about the struggles and about the beauty of his culture. And that's something I want to try to change. But again, because most of my youth, like most of my time when I was younger was spent in like a Filipino school with Filipino friends and classmates, I'm more rooted towards that. But doesn't mean it's not going to change, you know? Like I'd love to learn more about my dad's side.
It's the same case with me because like I mentioned, like from KG1 until grade 10, that's 12 years, I've been surrounded predominantly with Filipinos. So of course, that's going to instill something in me. However, now I spent 2 years in an international school being surrounded by different nationalities, but predominantly Arabs. And then now with university as well, majority of my classmates are Arab. So it's slowly changing, like especially with the language now. Like I speak more Arabic now than I did before. Like before in the Filipino school, I couldn't even read Arabic. And then I transferred, now I can read it, not properly, but like I can read it, I can converse a bit. Right. So it's slowly changing, I guess, because of the surroundings. Environment plays a big role in that, I guess.
Environment and also us, like self-realization, I feel like.
Just the self-curiosity. I want to learn more about the history, like, because Lebanon, even the Philippines, like, it's such a rich, like, history-rich country. It's a beautiful place, even Palestine.
Yeah.
Growing up with two cultures, and having experienced both sides personally, what would you say are the main similarities or differences between Filipino and Arab culture?
I think for both families, like an important thing.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
From my mom's side and my dad's side. Like even
very
though
family oriented.
Yeah, exactly. Even though my dad hasn't been back there for 25 years now. He's always in contact with my grandma and his sisters. And with my cousins here, we meet up as much as we can, especially now, like if it's Ramadan, we, have iftar together.
And they're both like very pious, religious.
Oh yeah.
Like even in my case, like being Christian, like you can see my dad goes to church every week. Like you can see even back in Lebanon, we have a church less than 5-minute walk from our house. And you can hear the mass. Like that's like something that's very similar as well to the Philippines. Everyone should be doctor. Engineer.
Oh wait, is that a thing in the Philippines too though?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, then yeah, that too. Because I remember being younger, it's like, you will be doctor soon.
Yeah. Engineer.
Yeah.
Now it's when you be business, you study business.
But even now, like, I'm taking interior design, so I'm like an interior designer. My dad's like, oh, my engineer daughter. I'm like, Baba.
It's the same with me. Like, I'm a pharmacy student. Everybody calls me doctor. I swear, even my grandma, she's like, doctora. I'm like, soon. And I love the fact that both my parents' side, they're very accepting of one another. Like, my grandparents, very accepting of my mom. And then the same goes with my mom to my dad, with my mom's side to my dad. So that's really beautiful.
Okay, so let's move to the differences.
So there's like this little corner of like an Arab household where it's like you do not sit there unless there are guests coming over.
Yes, oh my god, specific plates for guests.
Exactly. It's like, we have so many plates.
Yeah.
Why can't we use them? No, these are for guests.
Yes. Give what do you call that?
I know it's an Arab thing, right? The side
kiss, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. Like Philippine, I think this is a difference too. Like Filipino culture, when you meet like elderly people or like someone older, you bless, right? Arab culture is like, oh, how are you? Like multiple
you kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, I still don't get that. I mean, I get it, but I don't get how many kisses.
Same. I never know. I'm just like, okay, go back for another one.
1, 2, 3. Okay,
yeah.
Usually after 3 it ends.
Yeah.
Then sometimes
they just keep pulling you in.
Like, okay. Rice and bread.
Yeah,
rice and bread.
Yeah.
Filipinos, we love rice. Arabs, we love bread.
Yeah, there has to be bread. That's a part of me that's more Arab. I can live without rice. I need bread though.
Oh, that's a difference with me.
Yeah.
Like, I love rice.
She needs her rice.
You need kanin and ulam. Like you can't have ulam without kanin,
I can live without rice. I go to Lebanon, we don't even have a rice cooker at home because we don't eat rice.
But in your house now you have a rice cooker.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Say,
But like in Lebanon, we don't have a rice cooker. Like in my grandma's house, we don't have a rice cooker. Oh my god, I remember we went to Lebanon. We don't eat rice. Like it's not a normal thing. Even if we do, it's like as in kunti lang talaga. Like it's not like the way Filipinos eat rice. Yeah. Towards the end of our vacation, and then my mom's like, oh my god, my head hurts. My grandma's like, wait, I'm gonna cook rice for her. It's like a big difference. Filipinos need the rice.
Since you talked about rice, in the Philippines, did you know that there's this thing called shawarma rice?
Is it like the chicken with rice?
But
it's not even chicken, it's beef.
Ginagawa nilang ulam.
It's instead of bread.
Yeah.
It's like a shawarma. Remove the bread with the rice.
Oh.
But the thing is though, I think that like I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, but like the name, it's not shawarma. It tastes good, I like it. But it's not shawarma. Because like I think we know shawarma as like the one with like the really strong garlic paste, with, like the chicken.
Beautiful garlic paste.
Surprisingly, even if there are a lot of Filipinos here, many Filipinos don't really know about the Arab world. It's still very foreign to them. They still think it's deserts and stuff like that, which is what we handled on our other video. So, do you think that there's anything that could bridge our cultures together? Like, is there anything that unites us?
Most Arab countries and the Philippines have also been through a lot of colonization, a lot of sort of people coming in and like incorporating their cultures into our own. And I feel like from like Arab cultures is a mix of different countries, as well as Philippines is a mix of different countries. I could say the struggle, right? I don't know if it's what bridges, but I think it's something we could sort of understand from one another. Like again, leaving your home to come here and work. It's not just, this is in general now, not just Filipinos or Arabs. Also how I think some people perceive Filipinos and how people perceive Arabs.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that. Like we'll see Filipinos as like
less educated.
I feel, like you don't see that here, but outside of where we live, which is the UAE, I'm sure it exists where it's like both cultures are sort of almost looked down upon in some sense. That's something that sort of bridges them together because there's that sort of understanding for both cultures that the struggle is real, you know? There's also beauty to that too because there's also this sort of like respect of your story is very different from mine, but I empathize with it and I understand
I guess where you're coming from.
Yeah. Struggle is a heavy thing, but it makes you sort of more humble. You understand people more. It gives more room for learning from where you come from, your background, and how it's the same or different from others, and how you, regardless of the differences, can respect and accept other people for who they are.
But I feel like it's just because we care about what people say. There's just judgment towards Filipinos, I guess, that we want to prove them wrong.
But there we go again with like, it's not just Filipinos or it's not just Arabs. Like I could think of other people from different countries who also go through the same thing where it's like they have to prove themselves to other people. Which now again is like, is it really about where you're from? Is it just as a human being, as an individual, how we perceive ourselves or how we see our place?
I think it's just more human nature.
Yeah.
Like trying to prove yourself. Like, oh yeah, I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, yes, different cultures, but we're still human beings. Did you know that interracial marriage was banned before? It wasn't legal in the States.
Yeah.
Oh.
You didn't know, yeah? Between loving and the girl, the woman. I don't know the woman, I forgot the woman's name. But like African American and white, it wasn't legal in the States to get married, like interracial marriage. And then they moved to another state where it was legal, they got married, went back to their home state, they got arrested. I did an argumentative essay on interracial marriage. Like now, like statistically speaking, there's an increasing amount of not just Filipino-Arab, but like just any race in general combining. Honestly, I think like not in the near future, but a couple of years from now, 100 years from now, no one's gonna be pure.
I don't think,
ethnicity-wise
but to
anymore.
be honest, though, is there anyone that's actually pure?
Exactly,
and at this
exactly.
point, you know, wars have been happening since before. Colonization has been happening, so I'm sure no one's really pure anything.
I see this as a beautiful thing. Two cultures coming together. That's a form of unity right there. Mm-hmm. It's like if we bring more cultures together, like that's where unity starts, honestly, right?
Yeah, and it sort of makes the world more, not smaller, but sort of more open to like different cultures and what's happening.
Yeah.
Is this like an ad for interracial marriage? Can I just say something? I'm actually really happy that the Philippines now is sort of like embracing just being Filipino. Because I remember before it was like, oh, halves. They're like, you know, sila mga artists, sila yung pinakamaganda, ganyan. But now it's like embracing being pure Filipina is such a beautiful thing. And that's not like downgrading like any of us half people, but it's kind of like finally like you're seeing how beautiful you really are, because it's like it's there, it's true. Love the color of your skin, love your facial features, because it's such a beautiful thing. You know, like I'm so proud of the Philippines. Keep going, keep going.